I feel that it should only be the ethnically native British people that should be in parliament. There's a lot of issues coming from the Muslim community, the Pakistani community, that they are not addressing. And I feel like there's a lot of people playing the victim card. I've received death threats. I've had people turn up at my door. I've had to flee my hometown of Luton. White women, they see them as, I don't know what kind of language I'm allowed to use.
You can say what you want.
They see them as white whores generally. But sadly, when these people are coming here, they don't realize this is not Pakistan. This is a different country with different values. You're going to have to learn to live with Hindus, Christians, Jewish people.
Welcome to Harry Cole Saves the West, the show American grit meets British backbone. Joining me today is the host of Candid with Lubna, a former Apprentice star, Lubna Zaidi. Lubna, Happy New Year. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Lots of people may remember you in Britain from the Apprentice and may not know of your sort of more recent works. People around the world perhaps might not know you at all. You didn't come from political activism or commentary, but you have now established yourself as a commentator. Just tell us about your journey.
My journey, I am essentially a concerned citizen. I'm a concerned mother. I've been raised as a Muslim, and although I'm not very religious, obviously I'm still from that community, and my parents were born in Pakistan, I was born in Britain. So yes, I did participate once upon a time many years ago on BBC The Apprentice, but coming after that, of course, I've had two children, and I've been observing what's happening in the UK and being very, very concerned. So I've got two children. I'm concerned about the image that the Muslim and Pakistani community in particular have in the UK, sadly. And I feel that something needs to happen. We need to unite, essentially, right? There's a lot of issues coming from the Muslim community, the Pakistani community, that they are not addressing. And I feel like there's a lot of people playing the victim card. So essentially, because I do have two children and I'm concerned about the future, right? I'm concerned about my son being older, my daughter being older, and then it impacting them adversely. So then I decided that I'm going to actually start calling out what I call the bad apples. So my movement started not as a movement, just as a concerned citizen, me calling out the bad apples, the honor killings, the Islamic extremism, the grooming gang scandals, the misogyny, all those kind of things. And I thought, actually, do you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to encourage other Muslims and Pakistanis to do the same. And hopefully that way, you know, we can start building a bridge with the native British community. Because I think that there seems to be a clash when there doesn't need to be. Sadly, I was shocked to find that the intolerance levels of the community in general has been off the charts, where I've received death threats. I've had people turn up at my door. I've had to flee my hometown of Luton, somewhere where I lived for 40 years. And it's been very scary, and I wasn't expecting. I mean, I knew that the community in general is very intolerant, right? Because when you're raised as a Muslim, you're heavily indoctrinated anyway, and there is that general intolerance. But the level has been off the scale, where even I've been taken aback, and I'm like, I was just literally expecting people will support me in condemning the bad people within the community, but they've tried to silence me in general, right? Don't talk about the grooming gangs. Don't talk about anything. Just keep your mouth shut. Yeah.
We'll talk about the backlash in a moment, but just to be clear for people that are not in Britain, people around the world watching this, what is your concerns about the community? What were the major problems? You touched on grooming gangs there and extremists within the community and a sort of climate of not speaking out. But more specifically, what was it that you first started to call out, and why?
I think everything. I've visited Pakistan from a very young age, when my mother used to go there to meet her family. And I've noticed lots of behaviors that I thought were either not appropriate. Of course, being born in Britain, I do have the Western mindset. So going there is a culture clash. So, of course, there's been an influx of people coming from Pakistan into Britain. I've noticed that they've held on to their Pakistani values, the Pakistani mindset. They haven't necessarily bothered to integrate, assimilate. They've come with the wrong attitude. For example, generally the way that, and this is not just the Pakistani community, these are other communities as well, like the Bangladeshi community and others. The way they see, for example, white women, they see them as, I don't know what kind of language I'm allowed to use.
You can say what you want.
They see them as white whores generally. And even me, because I was born in Britain, I'm also one, right? But someone who's white is worse. So these kind of mindsets, because sadly they watch porn, a lot of Hollywood porn in their minds, because they've never been outside of Pakistan, for example, and these types of countries, they think what they see in porn is how the white girls are, right? So they've sexualized them, they fantasize about them, generally speaking. And this idea of when someone reaches puberty, they're an adult, they're bringing those ideas into here. This is causing friction, these kind of things. You know, there is the Islamic extremism as well, the religious intolerance of others. So someone who is born and raised in Pakistan, you're living in a country that is predominantly a Muslim country. It is the Islamic way or it's the highway. You know, it's only blasphemy if it's against Islam. It's not blasphemy if it's against any other religion. But sadly, when these people are coming here, they don't realize this is not Pakistan. This is a different country with different values. You're going to have to learn to live with Hindus, Christians, Jewish people, and Muslims of other sects as well. So I just literally, I didn't realize there's going to be such a backlash. I literally thought, do you know what? You know, we hear about the peaceful moderate Muslims. Okay, I'm going to find these peaceful moderate Muslims. We're going to unite and we're going to show people, the right wing people, that look, here we are, and your concerns are completely unfounded, right? But then I found the opposite. I found actually I'm in the minority, right? Where I'm struggling to find people who are willing to condemn the bad apples. It's not that the good Muslims don't exist. They are fearful of the extremists who are in the majority, sadly.
Is it fear, or is it something else that's making people, sort of binding the community together? Is it you say it's fear, but you also say that it's incredibly widespread and actually you've been targeted yourself, but have you been criticised by more moderate Muslims for, sort of stirring the nest, so to speak?
So there is a combination of issues. There's a spectrum of reasons why I've had a backlash. First of all, yes, people are afraid of extremists in general because they are religiously very intolerant. You hear about fatwas being given to people, right, for the most ridiculous things, and speakers' corner where people have been stabbed, like ex-Muslims and other people. So there is that fear. Obviously, we've had the case where, was it the Charlie Hebdo, the pictures and stuff like that. So people have those ideas in the mind already. So there's a general fear of speaking up and being falsely accused of blasphemy. But then I would say the large chunk of the community is just generally ignorant. I can't even say the word, ignorant of the issues. So for example, when you speak to them about grooming gangs, automatically they're like, oh, but white men are in the majority. Yes, they are in the majority of grooming gangs because they are the majority in the country. But if you look at it as a proportion, a percentage, then the Pakistani community is disproportionately represented in the grooming gangs. If you try to explain that to them, they kind of either they are ignorant or they're just acting ignorant, but they're not necessarily want to engage with the argument. They want to play the victim card. It's not our fault. It's racism. It's Islamophobia. We're just being picked on. Poor us. And sadly, what I've tried doing through my channel is trying to educate them on the issues. Okay, and it's not being easy. So there's a mixture of people. There's a lot of laziness as well, a lot of ignorance. Generally, I would say they are quite intolerant and then they're not used to hearing like a woman from within the community call them out. Right, these are predominantly men that I'm calling out. Right, honor killings, Islamic extremism, grooming gangs. These are predominantly things that are driven by men. So they're not necessarily appreciating a woman speaking out and lecturing them the way that I am, when generally the community is quite misogynistic. They are, right? They're infamous for this. If you go Pakistan, if you've ever been Pakistan, you'll know what I'm speaking about. But sadly, these people are bringing this kind of mentality over here. So they can't handle me, a strong woman, speaking up and essentially telling them where they are going wrong. So the way they handle this is by the threats, right? You threaten someone, you silence them. And for some time that did work, because I've deleted my videos a few times in the past as well. I'm like, maybe I've got this wrong. Maybe I don't want to get myself into this because I'm just a single mother. Like, I don't want to get involved in this. I've got no one to support me, essentially. I don't have like funding from anyone. I'm just literally a concerned citizen. I'm not doing this to become famous or whatever. And I don't think you can become famous talking about this kind of stuff. It's very, very risky. So I'm genuinely passionate. And then I was like, this is not worth it. But then I feel as if that I can't hold my tongue, essentially, because there's so many issues. And I feel compelled. I feel like a sense of responsibility as a concerned citizen, as someone trying to be a good citizen, that I need to speak up. If I don't speak up, who's going to speak up? And if these people silence me successfully, they're going to feel even more emboldened to do the same to other people, right? This technique has worked. You falsely accuse someone of things, or you send them death threats, and they become silent. their plan works, and hallelujah, they don't need to do anything. So I'm like, you know what? I need to, although it's tricky, it's difficult. I'm scared. I'm scared all the time. I'm very, even now, like, the reason I'm stuttering a little bit as well is because I feel like I need to choose my every word carefully in case
Of
someone,
course.
God forbid, misunderstands me, and blasphemy, and there you go. So people are falsely accused of blasphemy all the time in Pakistan. You get lynched. A mob will come. They don't care whether you've done blasphemy or not. False accusation. They haven't even heard you. They will lynch you. They will stab you. They will beat you to death. They will burn your body. This has happened. Even Bangladesh, this is happening to the Hindus, right? False accusation of blasphemy. This is common here in these kind of third world countries. And I don't like calling my country of heritage third world, but it is. And I'm sorry, I don't feel sorry for the Pakistani community who have failed to improve themselves and progress mentally. And I'm not surprised why Pakistan's not doing well and why it's a third world country, because with that kind of mentality, these people cannot become a first world country. So I'm trying to help these people, but if they're not willing to listen, I'm sorry, that's not my problem.
And you talk about people in the United Kingdom, though, within the community of Pakistan and Bangladesh communities in the UK. When you say you're feeling threatened and you're called out and criticised and potentially put in danger, who is it you're talking about? Are you talking about faith leaders? Are you talking about community leaders, local figures? Who is leading this? Or is it an online thing?
Yeah, so a lot of the death threats are always online. People have turned up at my door. I don't know exactly who these people are. Obviously, when someone comes and threatens you, they don't tell you their name, address, and all those details.
But does it happen? Has it happened in person before, or has it happened? Or is it mostly online?
So I have always, when I go out, I've always been disguised. But where I used to live in Luton, people found out where I live. They turned up at my door. There were groups of guys in the car. Some of them were youngsters as well. So then anyway, I had to flee my hometown of Luton. What happened after that is my plight was spoken about by YouTubers across YouTube essentially, but they were predominantly ex-Muslims and non-Muslim YouTubers. Not a single prominent Muslim YouTuber spoke about me. So they would have heard about me because everyone was speaking about me at the time, a couple of months ago. But not a single Muslim YouTuber spoke about me. Now, surely this would have been a good a way for the Muslim YouTubers to come out, a good opportunity for them to come out and say, look, she's been threatened by people from our faith. This is wrong. We're not extremists, and Islamically this is wrong, or whatever. They could have done that. They could have tried to deter people from coming. They didn't. They didn't speak about me. They completely ignored me. In fact, these people were happy, right? So what am I supposed to think now? I am someone who is a liberal person. Okay, I believe in let people live. If you want to follow Islam, follow Islam. If you don't, I don't care. It's none of my business. But these people from my faith didn't have the humanity to speak about me. So all I can say is, I'm sorry, these people are complicit. Every single Muslim person the majority of Muslim comments that I got underneath my video where I was crying, I came on YouTube the day I was leaving my house, I was crying on YouTube, and I was like, I'm sorry, I've received death threats, I've deleted all my content from my YouTube channel, I'm leaving my house, I'm getting out of it, the police has been involved, all of that kind of stuff. The comments that I got underneath my YouTube video from the Muslims were saying, oh, do you know what? We're so happy you're going now.
Yeah.
We're so happy you're not going to speak about the issues now. You spoke too much. And some of these people identified themselves as being doctors and accountants and lawyers.
That was my next question. These people, when they're not threatening you online or turning up at your house or driving past in cars, they're doing normal jobs. They're normal members of the community.
Yes, exactly. So they're not necessarily the ones who turned up at my door, but the ones who heard about the fact that I'm leaving YouTube and heard about what happened to me, instead of feeling sorry for me or saying this was wrong, they were supporting the extremists essentially. That, oh, good, thank God, we knew someone needed to silence you. Now you're getting silenced. I'm like, what the hell is this? You're not a peaceful moderate Muslim. You're a bloody extremist. You need to be deported. I'm sorry, I don't want these people in this country. Let's just cut to the chase here. My stance is simple. I love Britain. I was born here. I understand I'm not ethnically British, and I understand how the people who are ethnically British people feel. They're being wrongly accused of Islamophobia. They're being falsely accused of racism, and each time they want to be like protect their people, ethnically their people, they're being demonized. This is nonsense. Everyone is an ethno-nationalist in their country. Okay, the people in Pakistan, the people in Israel, the people all around the world in the African countries, everyone's an ethno-nationalist. But when it comes to this country, they want to push multiculturalism. This is absolute bullshit. Okay, I want these people to push multiculturalism in the third world country first. Once they've made it a success over there, then they can come here and lecture the native British people about multiculturalism. Okay, I don't mind multiculturalism as long as we have the cream of the crop coming from these countries. Cream of the crop, and they bring the best foot forward. If they shove their religion and culture down other people's throat, and if they think they can bully the native people in their own country, that's nonsense. I support the native British people to defend themselves. Simple as that.
How much support have you had from the state, so to speak? You talked about the police being involved, but at the same time, it feels to me, and we go back to the grooming gangs situation, the ongoing across decades, that local councils were turned a blind eye, the media turned a blind eye, accusations of racism and, as you say, Islamophobia was something to be feared. Do you, as someone who's spoken out as a moderate person, feel let down by a state that, really should be protecting you?
The police has been useless because they essentially want me to find out, give them all the details of who these people are. That's your job to do, not mine. They're not going to tell me what their name and address is and where they live. So I gave them, provided all the details that I had, all the evidence, and they came around my house and all that kind of stuff. But essentially, they advised me to leave my home for a couple of days, and then maybe come back. And obviously, I'm not going to stay there when people know where I live, right? Luton, if you know the town that Luton is, that's like the hub of extremism. So I'm like, I can't live here anymore. Everyone knows where I am. There's people turning up at my door. There's other cars following me. Even though I've been disguised, I don't feel safe. I need to get out of here. So it's very clear to me that the government, the police, all these people aren't going to help me. Frankly speaking, I don't trust the police because I feel like, what if there are extremists, sadly from my faith, that are working for the police, and then they leak my new address? So where I've moved, I haven't told anybody. I don't tell anyone where I am. I've taken all precautions. I've got VPN on. I'm always hidden just in case some psycho finds where I live, because you don't know these people. They're completely crazy, and the government is allowing extremism to fester. The MPs, the Muslim Pakistani MPs, for example, and the Bangladeshi MPs, all they do is they have a conflict of interest, right? They're not interested in resolving the issues within the community or extremism or any of this kind of stuff, because they are extremist themselves. Okay, these people should not even be in government. I'm fed up of, with all due respect, ethnic minorities being in government, in British government, speaking about everything apart from Britain. I've got sympathy for Palestine, Israel, like Pakistan, all the other countries and all that, whatever, I will pray for you guys. What are the British issues? They're talking about other stuff. I don't care about the other stuff. So I'm someone who loves this country. It doesn't matter that I'm not ethnically British. I'm tired and sick and tired of these people. I'm sick and tired of these people pretending there are no issues. I'm sick and tired of these people downplaying extremism. I mean, I can't remember that lady's name now. She's banning visas and stuff. What's her name? What's the lady's name in the parliament? What's her name?
One?
Oh my God. Sorry?
Which one? The Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood.
Yes, Shabana Mahmood. So she's talking about all other countries, about from the country of her heritage, Pakistan, where you see the most number of asylum seekers come through, right? So I feel like these are the wrong people in the British government.
Do you think the Labour Party have been too willing to rely on the Muslim bloc vote, and actually now they are caught between a problem of not being able to upset their voter base?
Exactly, they have, and this is the issue that this may be a little bit controversial. I feel that it should only be the ethnically native British people that should be in Parliament, because everyone else will always
as a non-native Brit yourself, you would exclude yourself from the democratic process. I mean, that's quite controversial. You're right. That is pretty controversial.
I don't care, because this is what this country needs. Sadly, right? This is people. There's nothing wrong with worrying about your own race or ethnicity. Everyone does it. But when someone who's white does it, then they're racist. I'm sorry, this is nonsense. I don't like double standards. I love this country, and it's not in the interest of this country to have all these ethnic minorities that care about Pakistan, Palestine, Israel, whatever country they're from. They're more concerned about those countries than this country. When you're in this country, talk about this country. And if you love those countries, then get out over there. No one wants you here.
Isn't the Parliament the forum to have that debate in? I mean, I'm not saying we're having it now, but you need to have that conversation through the democratic process.
I think, we've seen, I feel that this has been an experiment, right? We've had lots of ethnic minorities, including my family, come here. This has been an amazing experiment. Thank you very much. We've seen what people do when they have a conflict of interest and they work. They say that they're working for the British government, for British people, but all they're doing is looking after their own interests. So this has become obvious and apparent to me. These people have, because they've been such poor examples of people from within the community, they do not have the right to be in the position that they are in, right? And we need to be more strict. We need to stop being sorry all the time. I do feel sorry for the native people of this country, because they're always demonized for colonialism. Of course, colonialism was bad. No one said it's good. But to demonize the white British people today for colonialism and like guilt trip them, this kind of behaviour, I don't like it. I'm sorry.
Isn't the guilt tripping the fact that actually, colonialism happened now in reverse? The white communities and British communities in former British, British-run parts of the world are non-existent, but yet the Commonwealth and various countries that once part of the empire are now very well represented in the UK. It's gone backwards, isn't it?
Exactly. It's going backwards, and I don't like the entitlement of ethnic minorities. Again, reminding everyone, well, I don't need to because you guys can see that I'm not a natively white person myself, but I love this country, and my interest is what is right for this country. It's not right for this country that you have people running it who hate this country. Okay, let's be honest. There are so many people who have not forgiven the native people for colonialism. They keep speaking about it. I appreciate that a lot of native people don't care about colonialism like it was in the past, but what you guys need to realize is the Commonwealth countries that the countries that our parents come from, for them the wounds are still raw of colonialism. They still talk about it like it was yesterday. And some of these people are bad actors. Some of these people don't want good for this country, and they're being let in by the government to sabotage everything that we have. Yes, there are good people from ethnic minority backgrounds. There are good Muslims. There are good Pakistanis. But we're not seeing those people come in. We're seeing the bad apples come in. We need to get rid of the bad apples, deport these people. I don't want these people here. Okay, I don't feel safe in this country anymore. I don't even feel this country is the same place I grew up. Like, I have to, remind myself, we're in Britain, like we're in England. The fact that I can't even speak properly shows you how far this country's gone. How long is this going to continue? Are we going to pretend there's no issues in this country? No. So I'm speaking up. I'm from this community. I'm from the Muslim community. I'm from the Pakistani community. I want mass deportations of these people. If they are grooming gang members, if they're Islamic extremists, we've got 40,000 people on the terror watch list. These are 40,000 people that we need to get rid of. I don't care how, okay, obviously legally, but we need to get rid of these people. They're wrong'uns. We're putting up with this, and they're encouraging other people. They are getting emboldened. They think they own this country. They don't own shit. I want these people out of here. We will all feel much safer when we have strict laws. The Arab countries are doing it, right? Even Pakistan itself has deported God knows how many millions of Afghanistanis, right? Everyone's doing it, but when we do it, colonialism, racism, Islamophobia is boring to me. Even I'm like, yes, it's racism sometimes. Yes, things are Islamophobic sometimes. They're not always Islamophobic. They're not always racist. I'm so tired of hearing this crap. It's like, oh my God, come on, for God's sake, yeah.
All right, Lubna Zaidi, I think you've made your point very eloquently and very clearly. Thank you for joining us today, and please do stay safe. Incredibly brave what you're doing. Thank you for joining us.